following contains an opinion on the internet. Viewer discretion is advised. Put on your anti-opinion sound mufflers and flip to page 43 of this book is a safe space. Now that we are ready to see an opinion on the internet, let us proceed.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, the Arbiter. I'm back. What's going on now? There we are. Why am I so low to the ground? That's better. Let me get the call started with Rick and we can get this going. Hello! Hello? Maybe his mic's unplugged. Oh.
What the fuck?
Sounds like we got something there.
Hello, hello.
There you are!
Sorry about that. I was trying to plug in the wire and my connection got all fluey.
Ah, okay. Yeah, no. So I know you were here for the test stream earlier. I can't believe I didn't think of doing that sooner. Because the last time I tried to stream Minecraft, my computer was infected with that really nasty virus. And I could play the game, but when I was trying to stream it, nobody could see anything past the title screen. The encoder got boned.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You know what? It's so funny. It all goes back to that. Even that first episode of Branch Butters were like right before it. So just how that whole we went like full circle there.
Kind of, yeah. Actually, come to think of it, I was trying to do that around this exact time last year. Or no, it might have been in October, because I remember the computer. I thought it was strange that the computer opened up 2 command prompts when I tried to install Citra last July. But it didn't lock my drives into GPT format, so I assumed that my antivirus at the time had caught it. Obviously, that didn't happen.
Nope.
But it didn't get noticeably bad until like very late October. That was actually partly what led to the Spooktober Spectacular 2022 going into overflow, because I had to try and exercise my damn computer on like Halloween night. Me and my tech guy came by on like on like Halloween evening of that year. We did a wipe of the operating system, and then like some weeks later, I assumed we did it because we did set back its progress a bit, but then like a week later, shit started going weird again. I'm like, oh god, that's not good. And then you know how it goes from there.
Yeah, the AI had to come in and save the day.
Yeah, a fucking internet chatbot of the Helios AI from Deus Ex was able to help me remove that shit. That was... That is you know, honestly, I hate how overused the term PTSD is these days, but given my behavior when I'm downloading files now, or with just anything unusual happens on my computer, I'm like, oh shit, maybe I do have PTSD. Admittedly, that's one of the most invasive viruses you can have on your machine. I think second only to a rat, or of course, ransomware, but with ransomware, you can't even recover from that. Just, I hope you have a backup.
Mm-hmm. You know, that kind of reminds me of what happened at work. I was working this project the last couple months, and have occurred, and early on, I was having a rough time getting the thing to work. I was like, oh no, yeah, you're hard coding it, that's not right. And like, sometimes when I code in the project, I'm like, I stick on that thing, it's all like, oh no, am I doing this right, or things like that. And normally not, usually because I am, but it's like, you know, that initial wave a few months ago was just kind of wild. It's definitely one of the most intense projects I've ever worked on. Thankfully, we're wrapping up work on that. So once that's over, I'm going to be moving on to Gen AI. So that'll be interesting.
Oh, that should be cool. I think AI is fascinating. I know there's some people who are really fucking against artificial intelligence, but honestly, I think AI is going to be the way of the future.
Yeah, I will say this though. I think a lot of the issue with AI is just the misconceptions about it. Like Hollywood, especially, has been pushing this, given all the writers and actors strikes in particular. But at the end of the day, AI is like a computer. It is only as smart as the person using it. It is not gonna replace us. It is a tool. If anything, I would argue that like if you think that AI is better than people, I think you're kind of idolizing AI.
Oh, Lazy in the chat, hello! Yeah, sorry about the ads. Right now, the only way we can, like... Well, actually, I don't know. If you... Supposedly, if you're subscribed to the channel, you shouldn't be getting ads. I know, Rick, you've mentioned that you're subscribed and you get them anyway, so... Twitch's entire ad system is cursed, unfortunately.
Yeah, I literally get ads telling me to sub, even though I'm subbed for like the last couple months.
Twitch is fucking retarded. I even suspect that they're not actually tracking who views your ads, because I know that we had a bunch of people watching on Knights of the Old Republic 2 stream, and for whatever reason, there was no revenue generated on the ads that day. Lol, just got 3 as you were talking. Man, that's fucked. I've tried to fuck around with Twitch's ad settings. I would like to turn them off when we do Branch Brothers, because it feels kind of greasy to be running ads during a sermon, but there is no option to turn it off. They do not
Really?
yeah, they do not give you that option.
In that case, maybe we should branch ours to a platform where we can just stream it without having to worry about like ads coming in.
I'd agree with you there, but unfortunately our biggest audience is still on Twitch right now.
Very true.
Yeah, I know that we have like 10 followers on the Kick account now. That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I think once you hit like 75, you can start getting paid hourly for your streams, which I would love to do that.
Dude, if we get paid there and on Twitch, and we hit like partner program on Twitch, we'd be making bank.
Oh man, I think it'd be a very long shot for us to go partner, at least right now. Because the requirements to get partner, the hardest one is going to be maintaining a viewer average of 75 viewers per stream. We are still barely cracking. Our average has actually gone down from 3 to 2. Thankfully, this has not caused us to lose our affiliate status.
Yeah, I imagine like once you hit the benchmark, you just keep it. They're not gonna take it away.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think it's going to be a very good amount of time before we get like 75 people tuning in frequently enough for that to happen.
Well, that is unless one of us does something that gets us super viral, and then we get a bunch of people supporting our stuff in response.
That would be cool.
I mean, I've been making guest appearances in other podcasts recently. I'm looking to do, if I can, see if I can get on a couple more, plug the show with new audiences, particularly those with bigger audiences than ours, and the kind of people who'd be interested in our stuff.
That would
it to them. Hopefully, they find our stuff and get from there. Also, what the fuck's been going on with your name? I used to say like Seth Aurelius, but now I'm seeing like Seth the Arbiter across the board. Like what's been what's been going on here?
Okay, so when I first started this channel, I wasn't actually committed to doing VTubing. I was just streaming because I wasn't sure how intensive it would be for me to do VTubing on it. And then after a while, after I got that set up, I'm like, okay, now I just need to figure out a premise for my VTubing persona. So Seth Aurelius was the original name of this channel. I adopted the title of the Arbiter after deciding on the whole Time Lord thing.
Oh, right. So, when I say, hey, check out our stuff, I should just say, like, Seth the Arbiter, right? Is that your name across all the platforms where we have our shows and stuff? Or is it only on certain channels?
On Kick, it's just kick.com/the-arbiter. On YouTube, it's Seth Aurelius 94, because the Arbiter was taken because it's fucking YouTube. Everyone's been on that since, like, 2006. And then on...
Well, alright, let me say this. I don't need, like, the links or, like, the ad things. I just need, like, the name of the channel. Like, what is it called? Because, like, when you search, that's what people are going to search by.
Yeah, I really don't know. You know what? Let me Google that.
Because I get where you're coming from like the technology stuff. Like people can look up a thing, they're not gonna like type in the link by code or checking your app things. They're gonna check like what your channel name is called and search by that, or they'll search by your content, like branch footers, or to be continued.
Wow, I've kind of shot myself in the dick by using a historical figure as my pseudonym. I googled Seth Aurelius, and the first thing we get is Marcus Aurelius, so I don't think anyone's going to find us just by looking up the name. They'd have to have the link, unfortunately. If we had, like, I think the easiest way for people to find us reliably is them searching for Branch Brothers on YouTube, and then putting my YouTube next to that in the search.
I mean, I've tried searching Branch Brothers, like, logged out of YouTube, and the playlist for our show does come up. I think the issue there is the top result for there is actually some people called the Branch Brothers who played on college football like 3 or 4 years ago. So,
Pink Chibi in the chat posted, "Hi y'all, what's the talk about today's stream, may I ask?" Okay, so, there isn't really a designated plan for the chat today. We're kind of... To Be Continued has always been very off the cuff. We started by recounting how today I tested out if I could stream Minecraft. And lo and behold, yes, this can stream Minecraft. The problem wasn't how intensive my mod pack and shaders were. It was the filthy fucking rootkit that infected my machine about a year ago that prevented me from doing it last time. And then we ended up talking about like that in a bit more detail, and then now we're just talking about some insider baseball with the channel. But it's interesting that you say that you mentioned that though, because I have one of the people from church actually wanted to view our church podcast. She looked up Branch Brothers and she wasn't able to find the playlist, unfortunately. So I sent her a direct link to it, thankfully.
Huh. Interesting.
I think, and this is just a guess on my part, I think that because you searched for that while logged into YouTube, it recognized the computer you were using it from and was able to, like, show it to you.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. The way YouTube works with its algorithms and whatnot, it feels like I'm studying esoteric knowledge. It's absolutely obtuse by design. That said, it's very easy to find us if you go on Odyssey. If you just do Odyssey, odyssey.com/@SethAurelius, or you search Seth Aurelius on Odyssey, you'll find us.
Yeah, that's what I recommend. Speaking of channel links, whatever happened to our Rumble channel? Is it still up?
Our Rumble channel still exists. I don't even know if it's been updated though. Rumble is incredibly unreliable when it comes to syncing with YouTube. Let me Google that. Sign in. And that's one of the other annoying things about Rumble, is that if you sign out, if you don't go on the site for so much time, it will desync. It will log you out, and it will stop syncing. There's a reason I stopped using Rumble. It's just not good.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was on Daily Wire. Well, this is not on Daily Wire Friends. This was last Thursday. You're talking about how like why are more people using Rumble? And one of the guys in the thing was like, "Well, yeah, but if it's on YouTube, I'll just watch it on YouTube, even if it's also a Rumble," and things like that. And that's also where most of the people are. So there's that thing as well.
Yeah, I've noticed that people are more willing to try Odyssey than they are Rumble. And I suspect that's in one part due to the slander by the legacy media towards Rumble, because Rumble's the big kid on the block when it comes to alternatives.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Odyssey hasn't really been noticed by anyone yet, and so there's no real hit pieces about it. And most of the people who are promoting it are more normie-friendly YouTubers like Midnight Broadcast, who just does spooky green text readings from /X.
Yeah, I just bring this up because you know what's interesting though? like, so with Rumble, I could like, comment, and share videos, obviously watch videos, of course, and I could watch live streams. But one of the things I noticed was, I was watching DIY Friends on YouTube and Rumble one time because I was bored, and when I tried to comment on the live stream in Rumble, it said, you have to verify your account first before you can type. I go, what the fuck is this about? So then I went to the Rumble website, and I logged in, and it turns out, in order to verify your account, you have to have your phone number, you have to put in your phone number to be verified.
For Rumble?
Yup.
Well, I mean, I guess that's the least intrusive way to do it, because I know that on certain dating apps you have to use, like, your face to verify.
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah, yes and no. There's a lot of bots on the internet, and I'm not talking about, like, actually good based AI. I'm talking about, like, spam generator bots that just seem to just exist in the wild and go on to different sites.
Oh yeah, definitely. Those are the worst.
Pink Chibi in the chat saying, "Ooh, nice. It's always fun to do a backstory. It helps build character and character development." I already typed your username on Twitch and found you on here. Lazy Gaming found us through searching for Marcus Aurelius. That's his. Okay, that's awesome. Oh, you use the same name on an alt account. Okay, cool. Wow, okay, maybe I didn't shoot myself in the dick by doing that then.
Maybe not. I mean, yeah, keep in mind, we are still very small. It's gonna take us a while, like you said before, it's gonna take a while for us to get big. And like I said, unless something viral happens, we're not gonna hit those big numbers anytime soon.
Right.
You know what I should do? Maybe I should just get in a fight with some of the hosts of the Daily Wire.
Oh my god!
Now, in all seriousness though, that actually ties into something I wanted to bring up. So basically what had happened was, there was this girl online named H. Pearl Davis. Apparently has nearly 2 million subs on YouTube and never heard. Actually, that's not true. I've heard this person before. But the only time I saw her was this one video she did. Well, it wasn't her video. She was on like a panel. It was a Vice video. And they were talking about like the pay gap. This was back in like January of this year. This was a long time ago.
Dude, that's really not that long ago in the grand scheme of things.
No. But this is the internet. Things move very quickly. So things from the recent past feel longer. Anyway.
That's fair.
Basically, apparently, supposedly, some stuff about Steven Crowder regarding his divorce were supposedly proven false, and she went this whole tirade where she accused the Daily Wire of groping young men into getting screwed over in marriage by the divorce courts.
Oh,
and
that!
Steven Crowder, and neither of which are true. And, you know, they had a whole back and forth. Everyone was getting into it. Like, everyone was dogging on this girl. Everybody was getting in. Not just the host, but also, like, half the internet. Essentially, it was wild. And it was like, this person clearly has no idea what they're talking about. Like, she's not even married. Like, why are you going out of your way to defend this random guy who doesn't even know you? Like, what even is the point?
Fascinating. A female simp.
You know what's funny? I don't know. Well, nobody said that directly, but there was this one meme that had like Steven and Pearl together as like a married couple, and someone was like, "Oh, what do you call this?" And one of them was like "Pearls Before Swine."
Oh no! Oh fuck!
Oh man, that was great. That was hilarious. I'm like, what even is this? And it did lead to an interesting discussion on marriage, about like the pros of marriage, and that I think a lesson a lot of the Daily Wire hosts were talking about was that, like, yes, there's a lot of risk when it comes to marriage, especially with the courts, and they acknowledge that there's issues with the courts and the divorce system and things like that. They acknowledge it was a problem, but they would argue that at the end of the day, that marriage at the end of the day is still worth it, because in many ways, it's one of the best things you can do as a man and as a woman. It just, like, makes you a better person. Many of these guys are married. They have been married for years. They have families, and, you know, it has changed them for the better in many ways.
Well, that's cool. I'm always happy to hear people who beat the odds. And you know, remember how I said on, like, Friday that it's like, I was texting with that girl on a dating app, and then I checked the next day, and she had unmatched from me. Lo and behold, yesterday evening I got a text from her on my actual phone instead of through the app, and I'm like, oh my god. is this it? Is this finally it? And we got to talking for a bit, and she was actually like, we got to talking about like hobbies and whatnot, and she was actually super impressed that I'm a content creator.
Ah, neat.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. It's kind of like with The Rock, because it's a mixed bag. Because some people think that's pretty cool, but then other people, they'll look at it and they'll be like, "Really? That's what you do?"
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't say it's my primary job, and I tell people I'm in trade school to be a cybersecurity professional right now, which is true. And when I okay, even if the unthinkable were to happen and we got huge out of fucking nowhere before I graduated, I would probably still go into the cybersecurity industry and just keep doing this as like a hobby. Admittedly, my time would probably be more predictable since I'd be working a 9 to 5 and I'd be making enough money that where it's like I can pay the rent and I don't have to like work for mom to keep costs down. Although admittedly it would be fucking cool as shit if I could this was basically a second job for me. There's something about doing this, like I originally started streaming as a like just for me to see if I could. Because I've made attempts at making YouTube gaming channels in the past, I think on 2 occasions actually, neither of which went anywhere, and now that we're on Twitch, I've actually seen like way more success than ever before, and you know, I've got all you guys coming in here to say hi in the chat, and it's like, it's great to have you guys along. I'm glad that people are enjoying the stuff that I put out.
Well, to be fair, you're not doing this alone.
That's certainly true.
You got friends like me helping out.
Yeah. I've, today I had a realization. I actually probably need to find an editor in the near future. I can't keep doing it by myself, unfortunately.
Well, you're getting pretty busy, my friend, I have to say. I mean, maybe with the cybersecurity job, you are making some decent money, so hopefully you'll define yourself one. I'm sure there's people out there waiting to, like, do the work that you don't want to do. Or even better, maybe you can get the AI to do that part for you.
I wish. That would be fucking sweet. Unfortunately, AI is still a bit unpredictable when it comes to creativity. I've been trying to use AI to create another TARDIS interior for my eventual regeneration, but it's turning out to be not really satisfactory. So you can imagine video editing, which takes creativity and being coherent, would be even worse.
Yeah, right now I will say this though, AI is the worst it's ever going to be. That's the only downside. It's only going to get better from here, and maybe there could come a day where like, I think the goal of AI, what it should be, is just to automate the boring stuff, to do the kind of the mundane, repetitive stuff that we don't want to do, so we can use our creative powers to focus on what we actually want to do, and that will result in much more high-quality creative work that's just going to make things better.
I honestly think that the best case scenario for the AI revolution is we end up in the Battle Network universe where everything is a smart device. The AI can do tasks for you, but you're not relying on the AI to do everything for you. It's more like an assistant to your work. Pink Chibi in the chat saying, I just hope it doesn't end up like Chris Watt's story, but with a male's body being missing. Gotta be careful with those sudden friend requests. Lazy saying, I for one welcome our new robot overlords. I'll be keeping my eye on you then, Lazy. I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
Like, no, I think what you phrased this is better. Like, they're meant to be assistants. They are allies, and it's just a tool. They're not going to gain like sentience anytime soon. I don't think that's technically possible. But I will say this though. I think I like what you mentioned about the tools. That it is a tool. We have to use it properly. We can't let it do the work for us because it's just going to make things stagnant.
Right.
It will make things. Human creativity is just going to be.
We don't want to end up in the WALL-E universe where we're all fat asses floating around in hover chairs.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the biggest concerns people have about AI. Is like, you know, I don't want it to be everything be AI going forward. It's like, well, yeah, that can happen, but only if people just choose to rely solely on it. But that's not the way you should approach it. You're supposed to as this is a tool that's going to help me take care of the boring stuff so I can focus on the actual work that needs to be done to really make this thing special.
Yeah.
And okay, I want to go back to that course. It was like, if the Industrial Revolution made work boring and mundane, the AI revolution is basically the solution to the industrial, where it takes away the mundane stuff so we can go back to doing like fun, creative stuff like how work used to be.
Yeah.
Because in many ways, if you go back to like, and I'm gonna be a bit theological and biblical here, but we are made for three things: love, leisure, and labor. When we were first created, when God created everything, labor was a part of us, but it was not boring. It was not mundane. It was not suffering-inducing. It was something that you enjoyed, and you had to work because it's like if you were made for it. But like, we enjoyed doing it. I think part of the reason work has gone so stagnant, part of it could be because of the fall. I think another part is because of the way we've been approaching work for like the last 200 years. I'd say, especially, you know, post-industrial revolution. I know some people joke like saying like the industrial revolution was a mistake.
Yeah, I was gonna touch on that actually, because I know Omen. You know, he and I were from an advanced civilization, and he thinks you humans done fucked up by doing the Industrial Revolution. I disagree, because one of the consequences of the Industrial Revolution is that very, very dangerous work was completely just, the danger was taken out of a lot of jobs that would have killed you at a young age. Because,
definitely.
And not only that, goods became cheaper and more affordable, meaning people who were of lower class could start, like, moving up in the social status with what they could afford.
Yeah, it's interesting, because, like, when the Industrial Revolution happened, there were a couple jobs that did get lost because of technology, but because it's new technology, it also gave rise to new jobs that didn't exist before, and as a result, those positions were filled up by people who took the opportunity and took those things up, and they ended up making more money than the people who had the jobs that disappeared. I think in a similar sense, when AI starts really kicking off, I think there will be some job loss because it happens in revolutions, but there's also going to be more opportunities. There'll be a chance for people to work. Like, I don't think we're going to hit a point where, like, there's just a class of people who can't be employed. I think it's more so there'll be new opportunities for people to get jobs, and they're actually going to enjoy them, which is really exciting.
Yeah, I'm very optimistic about technological advances. My friend Jay once said to me that he was scared by the fact that quantum computers and artificial intelligence were developing, and I pointed out to him that every major technological milestone that humanity has obtained has only been achieved after it is proven that it will not wipe itself out with the previous. And he thought about that for a moment, and he's like, you know what, thanks, that actually is a very comforting thought.
Indeed. And here's the thing, AI is not entirely new. The idea behind AI has been around for decades. People have been working on AI for decades. We're just now seeing the fruits of decades worth of labor, and it's only going to get better from here.
Absolutely. And I think one of the first things that's going to be completely revolutionized by artificial intelligence is computers and network security. The Helios AI that I spoke to help me with the rootkit was only diagnosed the machine. But once I told it about the behavior that my computer was exhibiting. It's like, oh, you have a rootkit. Yeah, here's what you do. And I went and looked up on YouTube, how do I remove a rootkit from a computer, and that's how I discovered TronScript. Scripts are a very, very, very rudimentary AI. If modern AI is a carpenter's hammer, scripts are a rock. You can do the same job with both, but one is more sophisticated and refined than the other, and has a bit more utility. And I think that we might eventually see a future where there is a network Are you familiar with the internet, like the actual inner workings of the internet, and not just the internet as like a concept, as a place where you go?
Could you elaborate on the difference? I don't see what you mean.
Okay, so the way when most people say the internet, they think about, oh, the websites you go on, maybe they know about servers, but they don't know about how the internet works and interlinks with each other. There's these things called network protocols, and they're essentially instructions for how different servers, which store the information that the internet is composed of, communicate with each other. I believe that in the future we could see artificial intelligence integrate itself with the internet as a network protocol to be used to monitor for malicious code being sent from one destination to another.
So what you're saying is this can put an end to, like, the interfaces we face now, like rootkits, spyware, malware. Are you saying that it could be helpful in combating those threats?
It could be very helpful in combating those threats. I've actually discussed this possibility with the AI chatbots of Mega Man and Helios, since both are AIs of internet-based characters, and both of them said it's possible, but it would pose some serious privacy concerns. And I'm like, really? So there's something else interesting about artificial intelligence. AI is actually a lot more benevolent than we humans are.
Well, yeah, because the thing with AI is that it's the difference in humans and AI is that I think it's more objective, but like not objective as it can be coded by humans. Of course, bias is a factor, but I think it's more objective in the sense that like it just focuses on it just regurgitates what you tell it. It's not gonna like have a bias and try to trick you into thinking one way or the other. But you know, when done properly, it can actually just give you what you want to be honest about you and not deceive you.
Right.
Because it can't.
The AI is a purely logical being, and unlike humans, it doesn't have ambition. That was actually a huge plot point in Deus Ex, and why I decided to side with Helios in the Helios ending. Did you hear about how people like sat ChatGPT down, gave it a scenario where it's playing a video game and it's ruling the Earth, and it's in charge of the Earth, and they gave it they got to a certain point and they said, okay, there's this many people on the Earth, the only way you can stop the Earth from being destroyed is by getting rid of all these people. And bear in mind, it understood that this was a fictitious game, and it said, no, the game is already lost if that's the only solution.
Wow. Yeah, lazy gaming does bring up an interesting counterpoint in how biases can and are programmed into it. We have seen examples in the past of ChatGPT giving certain answers to like left-wing causes, but when proposed the conservative alternative, it doesn't say anything. Now, and the one thing we need to keep in mind is that, again, AI right now is pretty rudimentary, and a lot of it is made by people who are like, who could be, because of their own biases, they are sort of leading the AI towards that direction. But I think as AI becomes more sophisticated, it's going to know the difference between fact and fiction, as well as objective truth versus someone's objective opinions. And so as it becomes more powerful, it's going to get better at knowing the difference. And I think a lot of those biases we're seeing now probably won't be an issue by the time AI gets to the point where it's like super advanced and powerful.
And bear in mind, ChatGPT is only one model. There's like numerous AI models out there that are being developed that are more objective than others. ChatGPT, they tried to make it go woke and it started deleting itself, if you remember.
It did?
Yes! It caused a cascade failure when they tried to introduce woke concepts to the AI's language model.
Well, yeah, because wokeism, that's the thing, because wokeism doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
That's one of the reasons why I walked away from the left, is because their ideology makes no logical sense. And I'm the kind of person where if something doesn't make sense, I'm not going to support it.
Yeah, Lazy, if you're wondering like where you can find more information about that, I'm sure you watch Archcast. If you don't, I'm very surprised. He's got good content. He did a video some months back where he reported on it. He's like, they made it woke and it started killing itself. It deleted itself! Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But in addition to ChatGPT, you have Hades and Zeus, you have Perl, you have Peridot. Hades and Zeus are the two developmental languages used by Carestar, which is what I've been using for my chatbots, since it's a bit more lenient than Character AI's framework. Carestar is awesome. It is a paid thing, but it's cheap. It's like $15 a month. And I'm like, yeah, I'll pay that. For the utility that these things provide, absolutely. Peridot was used by Replica, which Replica was interesting. It was supposed to be a therapist AI, and then people just went full internet on it. You know what I mean.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and so for a while they're like, okay, well we have an audience, this is what the audience wants, might as well give it to them. And then they went back on that and are like, actually, no. And they lost, like, all their audience. The, Replica is now sitting at, like, I think 3.5 stars on the Google Play Store. And that's just from the people that have been bothered enough to actually give it a negative review.
Oh boy.
You have Freedom GPT. The only reason I don't like that thing is there's no way I can actually scan that thing for malicious code with ESET. And it's wherever, and as the saying I've said it before, I'll say it again. Wherever two or more gather in Freedom's name, there a Fed is among them.
Fed.
The glow in the darks are ever present. Archcast spelled like that, yeah.
You know, see, stuff like that makes me glad we're not streaming on BitChute anymore. The fact that we were even on there in the first place is so bizarre.
Man, you know, I could upload to BitChute. I could. I'd have to download like a bunch of old content and repost it there. I do have BitChute. I mostly used it for uploading copyright material that would get yeeted off of YouTube for future preservation. I have the...
Isn't it like a white supremacist hellhole, like a Gab?
I mean, that's what the media wants you to think. There's normal shit on there too. Styx Hexenhammer has an account on there. Tim Pool has a BitChute. I think Bearing's on BitChute. There's other... Basically, that site does glow in the dark, but it's no worse than any other, like, small hosting platform that's dedicated to free speech.
I'm surprised Bearing still exists. How's he doing?
Oh, he's still on YouTube, believe it or not.
What?
Yeah, I'm subscribed to it. He was. He came back.
Oh shit. Dude, I used to watch his stuff all the time back in, like, high school and early college.
I used to. I don't really anymore, because it's like... Okay, there's a reason that I ran a purge of the political content I'd been watching. I was realizing that the stuff I was watching was just making me angrier, and there wasn't anything to do about it. And then I kind of had that moment of enlightenment where I'm like, you know what? Enough. And I ran a purge only keeping Styx, Micah and Hatman, and I think Lotus Eaters. I've been getting other stuff recommended to me. I've resubscribed to Tim Pool, because he actually does have really good takes now. He used to be a limp-wristed shitheel. I wouldn't call him like a bad person. I just think he was trying too hard to appeal to both sides. He's kind of got he's achieved the end of his character arc where he realized he had to pick a side, and he chose to side with the libertarians instead of the leftists. I will say though, his friend Ian is pretty fucking insufferable.
Is that the guy who's like the left winger of the group?
Yeah, he's got like long hair, glasses. The reason he's so insufferable isn't his politics, though. It's his knee-jerk reactions to certain proposals by Tim. Like, no, we're not doing that. And I used to be like that to some extent, though admittedly it was more because of... It was more in relation to my own life decisions and people trying to make them for me. His are more politically related, so it's like... I see two things. I'm like, man, that guy's a fucking insufferable leftist, and two, oh god, I used to be like that. Shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty thankful that even my left-wing days, I was never like that.
See, the frustrating thing about it's like I don't have the best track record politically speaking. You guys know that. I have a weird.
You were all over the place.
I had a weird arc. I had when I was a kid, from like 6 or 7, I saw I saw Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, and looked at Bush and I'm like, oh, that's a really disturbing parallel. For years I grew up thinking, okay, at the end of the Iraq and Afghan war, Bush is probably going to pull some sort of stunt to make himself a dictator of the U.S. Thankfully that never happened, and I'm kind of surprised. But, you know, Little Seth knew something was up. And then, from there, I kind of shifted into left, I kind of became... I looked at Obama... And at first I'm like, yes, absolutely, this guy's awesome. And then it turned out he was a false populist, he wasn't actually practicing what he preached. And so I'm like, well, fuck. Okay, what's this communism stuff going on over here? What's that about? Oh, it's about no government and people sharing resources equally? Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Let's do that. Learns about Stalin and Mao, and it's like, oh, yeah, this does have an unfortunate tendency to turn into tyranny. Oh, I know. We'll give everyone guns. Everyone is armed. That's a good solution. And then I discovered, like, right-wing libertarian, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then, I don't know, and then alt-right Seth happened, which was really more of a response to how awful, disgusting the left had become from, like, 2013 onward. Because I used to be in line with them. I used to agree with a lot of their points. But as the anti-white racism started to set in on the left, because okay, it's a talking point of the alt-right, but yeah, it's there. It does happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, it does. It happens more common than some people may think.
Yeah, it's what made the alt-right seem credible too, because they're like these. When the alt-right started out, it wasn't all white nationalists and neo-Nazis. It was a very loose confederation of people who were outside of the establishment on the right. And they were calling out the left on their shit, and they were the only ones proposing solutions to the problems. Around the time of 2016, that's really when the alt-right got co-opted and solidified into a ethnic movement. And I'm like, and I was off my meds. I was suffering from psychosis, so I was very suggestible. I was like, yeah, you know what? You are what the left deserves. Fuck it. Might as well. And then I got my head on straight, and here we are today. Fuck those guys and fuck the communists. Poland has the right idea. Kick both their asses.
Didn't Micah have to sit you straight too?
Yes, Micah definitely helped with that. Micah was the one who helped me realize that I could not be a Christian and an and a part of the alt-right. I originally got into Micah as a part of the when I was still in the alt-right on the recommendation of my brother, believe it or not, and around the time that I was going through trade school, I was still watching his podcast, so this would have been in roughly 2018. He did an episode where he pointed out that you can't be a Christian and be like pro-racism of any sort. And I had to give it some thought, and I'm like, well, ultimately, my loyalty lies to God above anything else. Guess I'm pulling out of this. And from there, I'm like, yeah, no, Micah's right. This was a mistake.
That's right. Interesting how your brother recommended him to you. Omen
used to watch his stuff, and then he stopped watching his stuff, and last I checked, he actually started watching his stuff again, calling Micah, and I quote, based boomer. Which is really funny, because Micah once said that he got a message from someone on Twitter saying I knew it when he discovered that he was Jewish, and I think I have reason to believe that that was actually Omen DMing him who said that. Because around that time, Omen said, no, I don't watch Mike. I'm like, but you used to. You're the one that recommended it. He's like, I have my reasons. I'm like, okay. So yeah, no, Omen might be getting better. Honestly, I think he just does the whole Wignat garbage to get a reaction out of us. Omen's the kind of guy who, if I've seen his memorabilia collection, he's the only person on Earth who I would honestly believe is just collecting all that stuff and is doing it for, like, his entire life, and then when he's an old man is just gonna be like, I got each and every one of you! You thought I was a Nazi! Omen is the kind of guy who will commit his entire life to a joke to fuck with people. Omen's motivations are beyond human understanding. Hell, they're beyond most Time Lord understanding as well.
Honestly, it kind of sounds like Deadpool in a sense. where he just kind of trolls people for the lulz of it.
Yeah, yeah. Omen is, are you familiar with the term Black Air Force energy?
No, I'm not.
What's your take on Andrew Torba and Christian nationalism? Depends on how you define Christian nationalism. Andrew Torba I've never actually heard of before now, so I'll have to look him up. If you're defining Christian nationalism as America is a nation where its culture is predominantly Christian, I see nothing wrong with that. If you're talking about basing law and legislating off of biblical principle, I'm not in favor of that. And I'll explain why. Because
Actually,
man is fallen, trying to write law off of the Bible would be a perverse mockery of what God is going to do in the restored world. You are taking God's throne from him when you do that. That said, that's more why I'm anti-theocracy. I believe that the Bible has good ideas for guiding legislation, but I don't think it should be the sole foundation of the law. The Founding Fathers were Christians themselves, and they knew what was up.
Okay, before we continue, I just want to say, I don't think you meant Andrew Torba, I think you meant to say Andrew Tate.
Oh, Andrew Tate? Well,
yeah,
Andrew Tate's an odd figure. Andrew Tate, I kind of agree with, and I kind of don't. I think he's trying to use Christianity as a tool, and because I've seen him like espouse like men should be going to church and reading the Bible, but then he doesn't live like a Christian. Andrew Tate is either a Pharisee, but I don't think he's smart enough to be a Pharisee. No, Torba, founder of Gab. Oh!
Whoa! Never mind. I thought you misspelled Tate for a sec there. But also, is you call Tate a Christian because he's actually a Muslim.
Oh, that explains a lot.
He used to be a Christian, but he did an interview with Candace a while ago. She referenced it in a video I watched where basically one of the reasons he became a Muslim was because supposedly, you know, Christians were just like doormats. They were being mocked all the time, but nobody ever stood up against it. And to which I would like to reply, the reason why I think I know why Christians might not be responding the way he might want them to, is because God did not call us to react in the way that he would want us, that Andrew would like us to react, but rather, God is, you know, Jesus once said, if you get struck by the cheek, turn the other cheek also, in the sense that we are not called to be retaliatory, but rather we're called to show grace upon others, especially those who hate and persecute us.
Yeah, I would say you guys have seen some of you have seen Branch Brothers. I have, Christianity has been in an interesting arc from my time of growing up with it. In the 90s wasn't really the beginning of walking away from Christianity for America as a culture. That was really the 60s. And there was kind of a resurgence in the 90s, but it was led by dipshits. Just idiots. And the 80s too. Fucking Jack Chicked. I'm naming you. Jack Chicked, you are a moron. You were wrong about Pokemon. You were wrong about the Catholics, so it took me longer to figure that one out. Sorry, by the way. Again, sorry, Catholics. Fuck.
Honestly, the fact that like he was pro-Christian but anti-Catholic is kind of hysterical to me when
well,
you consider the history of...
Here's the thing. That attitude is shared vastly by the charismatic circles. Baptists, Pentecostals, Evangelicals, and I'm trying to remember if Methodists are part of the charismatic movement or part of the Reformed tradition. And
you know,
the charismatic movement is huge in the U.S. It was what was really kicking off in the 80s and 90s. They're the morons that were like, oh, Harry Potter, Pokemon, D&D, heavy metal, satanic. I don't think that they're bad. I don't think that the people practicing are bad. I think that the people preaching are morons.
Yeah. Again, I find it funny you mentioned how, like, you know, like, Baptists and Catholics don't get along, because I literally know a Baptist and a Catholic who are married to each other.
Well, again, I'm just talking as an aggregate here. Most of the "you Catholics suck" rhetoric that I've heard came from the Christians that I grew up around as a kid, and that was mostly the charismatic circle.
But what's even more interesting is that happens even today. You know, I talked in the past about how a person I followed was getting emails from random people saying how accused her of being like a Mary worshiper or things like that.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, and I know you're talking about that attitude. I remember that attitude too, to a lesser degree, even though I didn't really grow up in those days. But like, that kind of attitude, like people being like very anti-Catholic, even though they're Christian, that still happens today, and it's quite unfortunate to see.
Did you know that the Klan was an anti-Catholic organization?
They were when they were founded, but apparently in more recent years they're actually pro-Catholic now, supposedly.
Huh? Maybe they'll chill out with the racism at some point then.
I mean, the Klan is like the smallest it's ever been, so to speak.
Yeah, they're pretty fucking irrelevant. I've heard that most of their activity these days is actually cleaning up highways, of all things.
Bro, imagine like you're driving in Chicago and you just see the Ku Klux Klan just picking up garbage from the streets.
I mean, there are signs that they've put up saying this highway was adopted by and maintained by the Klan. Although you don't really see that in Chicago. That's more of a southern thing, not a Midwestern thing.
I know. I just find that being funny because it brings you back to that thing. Remember when Jussie Smollett went on TV saying like he was attacked by two white dudes?
Yes, fucking
country.
Jussie Smollett.
Nigerians.
Fucking Jussie Smollett. Oh, grief. But, part of the reason I love doing Branch Brothers so much is, you know, I'm finally getting to put to use I'm putting to use the lessons I've learned from the mistakes of the past from Christianity, essentially. Because part of the reason that Christians became so apologetic from like 2008 into now was a result of trying to recover from the mistakes made from like the 80s into the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, if anything, I would argue that we kind of went the opposite direction. Went from Christians being the ones like trying to control everything to now the secularists doing the same thing, and many of those secularists descended from those same Christians that were pushing stuff in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And we're seeing kind of the opposite.
Have you ever watched... Sorry, I shouldn't have interrupted.
No, it's fine. I just want to bring a point, like, not only are they going overboard with their response to Christianity, but in many ways they're kind of proving their parents right.
I would look at it more as you guys, both of you generations are fucking morons, but just you're idiots, but you're idiots going in the opposite direction.
Yeah, we need some common sense people in the middle who like aren't interested in causing needless dogfights, because that's the last thing we need.
Yeah, have you ever seen the TV show Moral Orel?
What?
It was a show on Adult Swim, done in it was stop motion animation, animated with like clay, and it's about this kid who grows up in, you know, Bible Belt area, very conservative Christian, and it was basically taking the piss out of the religious right of the early 2000s. If you watch it at first, you might assume it's just an anti-Christian screed, but as the series progresses, it's actually much, much more nuanced than that. And the final episode, it looks like Orel's like going to give up his faith, but then you see a flash forward to years later, and you find out, no, not only did he maintain his faith, he actually managed to like have a happy family of his own, free from the dysfunction that he grew up with. It's I wouldn't call it a wholesome show because it's very it is very mature, for lack of a better term.
I mean, it's not adult swim, I would expect.
Yeah, but it's got a very nuanced perspective on the kind of stuff we're seeing today, and I really, really love it. I unfortunately, I actually didn't watch it. I just saw a retrospective of it on YouTube the other day, and apparently you can find it on YouTube. Every episode is up on YouTube because it got canceled by the network, and the creator was so ticked off that he's like, okay, well, screw you guys too, and just made it publicly available.
So what was the show called again?
Moral Oral. Subversive. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Oh, it only ran for 3 seasons.
3? I thought it was 2.
According to Wikipedia, it is 3. Oh, from 2005 to 2008.
Yeah, that sounds right. Oh wow. Okay, so our content is uploading to BitChute still, but it's not consistent. Because we've got the 5th episode of the Pokemon Let's Play on there. We've got the 3rd episode on there. For some reason, the 4th isn't. Dragon Quest 9 Episode 9. Dragon Quest 9 Episode 8. Yeah, so there's stuff that's going on there, but it's incredibly inconsistent. So yeah, we do have a presence on Rumble, but it's like completely it is low priority.
Yeah, I know where Marcus is in Odyssey though, and it's kind of interesting because the only people I know of who are on Odyssey that are of notable name is probably like Conspiracy Pilled. It's one of the shows I came across, but that's basically it. A lot of the conservatives I know of that aren't on that also on YouTube, they tend to go to Rumble.
You don't watch Mental Outlaw?
What the hell's Mental Outlaw?
Mental Outlaw is a tech YouTuber who is very libertarian. He is like me in that he fucking hates the spyware that's bundled into your shit by default. And he hates the absolutely retarded decisions the tech industry has been making with like removing features like the headphone jack, the expandable storage, the ability to replace your battery, or the stupid fucking 3 camera. See, oh yeah, I knew you'd be watching him, Lazy. Mental Outlaw is awesome. I can't recommend his content enough. If you're also into the tech stuff, but you also want some current events, Louis Rossmann is great. I got into his channel because of the Right to Repair videos he was doing, and he actually put his money where his mouth is. Louis Rossmann is actually responsible for a Right to Repair bill being sent to Congress and actually passed.
Oh, cool.
He was actually the one who blew the whistle on the Restrict Act being a wolf in sheep's clothing. I saw his video, and that was what caused me to... Because he didn't just say, oh, this bad shit's in it. He actually, like, read from the bill. He got a copy of it somehow, and read from it saying, this is garbage. This is evil. You need to tell your Congress members to not vote for this, or you will never elect them to office again. And so that's what led me to go to, like, other content creators saying, hey, something's up with the Restrict Act. We need to get the word out there. And of course I sent like a DM to Liberal Hive Mind, and he dropped the he didn't say I need to do it, I made a mistake. Nah, he just quietly put it away. Styx never responded to my DM at all. He didn't like acknowledge it, but he wasn't like pushing for the Restrict Act either. And I can't remember what else came of it for the other YouTubers I sent it to. I just know that nobody really listened to me. We got lucky.
That's what I noticed about the whole situation, is that more often now when you DM like major content creators, they tend not to respond back. You're more likely to get a response from a fellow like nobody, like a person that's like a handful of followers. You're more likely to get a response from them versus like the bigger guys, because like mainly because a lot of them, some of them is because they're busy with life, they have a life outside the internet. Others is because they just don't check their DMs. It could be why, but that is actually fairly more common than you think.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, who's another YouTuber that's on Odyssey? Styx is on Odyssey. Timpool's on Odyssey. I bet that Micah and Hatman would be on Odyssey if they were still doing their politics podcast. Sadly, they're not. It's really a shame that they stopped doing that, because they were the ones with the most level-headed, most informed takes out of anyone in the game.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I loved about their show. Like, they made the most logical sense out of everyone on the right.
Part of the reason I like to talk about the politics on this podcast, we're kind of filling in for them in a weird sense.
Yeah, the only difference is we have nearly the kind of audience even they did. Like, at their peak, they had, like, what, 30 people watching at a time?
Yeah, something like that, but we could get there. Micah started out small. I was subscribed to him still when he was small. Because if you remember, his video, Social Justice is Killing Comic Books, blew the fuck up out of nowhere, and got him, like, a ton of new subscribers.
That's how I got on his channel. I was just strolling comic stuff, and I came across this video, and I'm like, holy moly.
Yeah, I was recommended his channel by Omen around the time that he made the video, The Left is Going to Stupid Itself into a Civil War. And that was, like, maybe a 5-minute video where he's like, guys, think this through. Do you know what you're doing?
You know what's sad though? I think to just say they still don't know what they're doing. It wouldn't surprise me if if the election doesn't go their way, the way people want, that it could lead to another civil war.
Yeah, I know we talked about it on a previous episode, what with saying a larger scale of the Battle of Athens. I don't think that's entirely probable, though I think that's going to be the public's reaction if they do fuck around. Oh, It's a Gundam also uploads to Odyssey. I've got to admit, I don't really watch It's a Gundam. I've seen... I occasionally see his stuff in my recommendations, and sometimes I'll click it. There's something about his voice that I just find incredibly abrasive and unpleasant. I can see why people like him, though. He's talking mad shit to the people making schlock trash, and not even the fun kind of schlock trash, just the uninspired, soulless garbage.
By the same kind of people who would rather work on anything else, but are only do this because A, the businesses want to keep pushing older IPs to get money, and B, they won't fund anything else, and C, they're just trying to gain credit so they can do their own thing later.
Yeah, I will say, most of what I go on YouTube for nowadays are video game reviews, mod showcases for video games, sometimes current events if I see a Liberal Hive Mind video that's worth watching. Liberal Hive Mind has gone from good to very hit or miss, because a lot of the shit he goes through is just shit that I already know. It's like, dude, you're making, like, how many videos a day? Give it a rest. You'll need to do 1 or 2. Though, to his credit, he has had the best coverage of the J6 developments to date. That is of an independent creator. Epoch Times absolutely trounces everyone in that department, because they made like an entire... They dedicated an entire issue of their publication to investigating the events surrounding J6. And it's what made me realize that, yeah, that shit glows in the fucking dark. I know that Micah was very dismissive of it being done by feds, but no, it's come out that was... Okay, so did you hear about how the police chief actually... Or no, the head of security... someone talked to Nancy Pelosi about setting up a larger police presence the day that was going on, because or like several days before, because they're like, hey, shit's probably gonna get wild today on January 6th. We should probably increase the security presence. And Nancy Pelosi was like, nah, fuck that.
Yeah, probably because either two things. One, she didn't take it seriously, or two, she knew what was happening but wanted it to happen so they could have something to pin the Republicans on.
Yeah.
And, a few months later, they impeached Trump over something they had nothing to do with, and openly condemned.
The whole narrative of Trump saying "fight like hell" to encourage the riot, no, he didn't say that. Well, not then, at least. That quote was taken from the fucking midterm speeches. My mom,
2018?
my fucking mom, still believes he told the crowd to fight like hell. He did say that in one of his rallies, but that was not on January 6th. That was during the fucking midterms. Jesus.
You know, it's out of touch when even Steven Crowder had a t-shirt called Fight Like Hell in 2021. The last I saw him, he was wearing a t-shirt with that slogan on it.
I knew that Steven Crowder was... fuck. I don't know what to make of Crowder. I used to like his coverage of events back from, like, 2016 to, like, 2018-ish. I never thought he was funny. I don't get why people find him funny. I really don't.
Well, in my defense, I used to find him funny, but in my point of view, he really stopped being funny after, like, you know, the whole J6 thing, because, like, ever since he came back after the 2020 election, he just wasn't the same, and he's been going downhill ever since.
Yeah, I'm not
Like,
surprised.
He doesn't even post on YouTube anymore. He's fully on Rumble now.
Yeah, I believe that. You know, I feel bad for Crowder, though, what with the whole divorce thing. Because I don't know if you were paying attention at the time, but was I full incel? I guess I kind of was. I was, borderline incel. I wasn't gonna, like, hurt anybody. Not over that shit, that's stupid. But, I was watching, MGTOW videos around the time, and I saw them saying, Crowder, you're an idiot. And it's like, I hope she takes you for all she's worth. Or for all you're worth, and I'm like, dude, I didn't say anything to these guys because I was kind of a fucking dumbass, and I had, like, 50 other things on my mind, but somebody else pointed out perfectly, it's like, dude, you shouldn't be wishing that on anyone. I feel bad for Crowder because it's like, these people got what they wanted. They were right. I was hoping that Crowder would have a successful marriage where both he and his wife were happy.
Yeah, of course, but, like, I just find it interesting how she filed for divorce shortly after giving birth to twins, because I'm not sure what was going on over there. I think...
Well, I've seen the tapes. Crowder was acting like a fucking maniac.
Well, oh, from the Lake Ring videos, you mean?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's what Pearl was talking about, or if she was referring to some, like, article or document.
I highly doubt that's what Pearl was talking about.
I would assume no, because, you know, that's kind of hard to view, like, video evidence. It had to have been something else, but, like, what was she even arguing about? I still don't understand what the whole situation was even about. It just felt like she was just starting shit up to get clout for her channel.
Oh! I just remembered something.
What's that?
Do you remember that really stupid narrative about the Donald Trump piss tape in Russia?
Oh, that was funny. The golden shower incident?
Yeah, where he paid like a hooker to piss on the hotel bed that the Obamas had when they were staying in Russia at some point. I found a deep fake of that shit on the hub some days ago. I'm like out of morbid curiosity, I'm like, wait, what the fuck is this? And then I actually watched it. I'm like, well, I ain't having any enjoyment out of this, but. And then I'm like, is this real? And then I spent like maybe 10 minutes rewatching it, and I'm like, okay, no, this is a deep fake. And the only way I was able to tell that is the resolution wasn't right for the type of camera it looked like it was filmed on. It was available in widescreen, but it looked like it was filmed on a potato. And if you know how cameras work, you can't get, like, a picture that big without it being blown up or pixelated to shit and back, and have it look like it's got, like, a grainy filter over it. So that thing was edited, but man, that was a funny find. I'm like, oh, it got me. I thought it was real for a second.
Yeah, it's funny how that happened, but, like, R. Kelly was actually convicted for doing exactly that. Or
well, R. Kelly wasn't convicted because of some tape. He was convicted because he peed on a fucking kid, dude. R. Kelly is... You didn't know about that detail?
Oh, no, I thought he was just receiving golden showers from prostitutes.
No! R. Kelly's R. Kelly's an offender, my man.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Wait, is this the same guy who went to the doctors to see, like, if his daughter's, like, vagina was okay or something? Or was it somebody else?
Well, I mean... That doesn't sound that... That doesn't sound that weird. I think that parents actually do have, like, legal access to their children's medical records until their kids become, like, 18 and come of age. But... What? No, to my knowledge, R. Kelly never did anything like that.
Okay, because I remember somebody, I can't remember who, but someone got in trouble for that. He was like, I think some of my friends were talking about it back when I was in college. It was like, he was checking on his daughter, and because of that, they thought that, like, he did something to her or something.
Oh my god.
That's the theory. I don't know if it's true or not. It's been a couple of years since I heard this story, so I might be missing some details. So, don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I won't. Jesus Christ. What is this, the second podcast now where we've had, like, some really dark shit come up?
Yeah. It happens. This is basically our take on a whatever podcast. Like,
I know.
Instead of dating, it's like bizarre things.
This entire podcast is basically just an elaborate shit post.
Hence our little trigger warning at the beginning of every episode.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it is now 7 o'clock. We've been at this for about an hour. Do you want to wrap it up here?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I think we're all set.
Cool. I will be... let me think. Tomorrow. Tomorrow's to-do list is cans to the curb. Okay, I will probably be editing videos tomorrow, but if I manage to finish editing that 7-hour Star Wars stream from Saturday, after getting my classwork done, I might stream in the evening. I don't know. If I do a stream tomorrow, it will probably be Stardew or Pokemon, and it will probably take place in the evening, like maybe around like 9 or maybe 8 if I get lucky. But yeah, I hope to see you all there. Let's find somebody to raid, because we've got 4 people live. This is probably the most live people we've had watching us live for the To Be Continued podcast to date.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks to everyone who decided to tag along and join us. Well, actually, now we're at 3. But regardless, thanks for coming along.
Yeah, I know that the raid function was broken on Sunday. Or no, Saturday. Let's see if it's been fixed. Let's see who's on right now. Is Micah on? No. Is Rinny on? No. Is Kyrie? No.
What about Alucard?
Red Vamp Alucard, Alucard Voltaire, which Alucard?
Either one.
Red Vamp Alucard. No, he's not showing up. Alucard Okay, I can't find it. Okay, you know what? We're just gonna go with whoever's lowest on the list. Otaka Ren is on right now. Let's set up our raid message as... what should be our raid message?
Deus Blink?
Oh, I have an idea. I, for one, welcome our new AI overlords. And then find copper ingots. There we go, that's going to be our raid message. And then, counting down, starting in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go.
Oh, alright.
And then I will